What is up, guys? Delboy here. A late post-fight review for Canelo Alvarez versus Rocky Fielding. Canelo Alvarez destroyed Fielding in 3 rounds, and essentially it was an exhibition in combination punching, body punching and offensive talent from Canelo Alvarez. You know, he did exactly what he had to do against a limited opponent in Rocky Fielding. And, you know, he looked good for the most part. He won the WBA regular super middleweight title that Rocky Fielding holds. So technically, Canelo Alvarez becomes a free-weight world champion. And yeah, he did what he had to do. The first round, you know, Canelo Alvarez came out very aggressively. Rocky Fielding, you know, he did try to start with sort of jabbing and keeping it at range. But, you know, fairly early on in the fight, Rocky Fielding just stands in front of Canelo, and that is when Alvarez does his best work, you know, with combination punching, changing levels from body to head. Rocky Fielding was dropped in the very first round with a left hook to the body. He recovered quite well and saw out the round. Round 2 was much of the same. Again, you know, Rocky Fielding sitting on the ropes, inviting himself for Canelo Alvarez just to tee off. And Alvarez just had far too much offensive quality for Rocky Fielding to deal with. And, you know, Rocky Fielding just couldn't really defend himself. Everything Canelo was throwing was getting through, mainly to the body. And in round 2 again, Fielding is dropped with a big body shot. Fielding does give it a go. He lands a couple of shots here and there on Canelo, but these shots had nothing in them. They had no effect on Canelo. And Canelo just kept coming forward and putting the pressure on. Round 3 again, you know, more of the same, just a relentless onslaught of various combinations from Canelo. Rocky Fielding was dropped in this round with a headshot, a lovely chopping right hand that connects right on the chin. Really good shot from Canelo. Drops Rocky Fielding. That was the first headshot that dropped him in the fight. But again, he beats the count. And Canelo again jumps right back on him. And how he finished this fight was quite smart. So he drops him with a headshot. Fielding beats the count. And Canelo, instead of going back to the head, he drops to the body straight away. And again, you know, a lovely hook finishes Rocky Fielding. Dropped for the 4th time. And the referee at that point had seen enough. Rocky Fielding probably could have got up. But, you know, he was going to get knocked out badly the longer that fight went on. So a good stoppage from the referee. And yeah, Canelo did exactly what he had to do in a fight like this. This fight was merely a introduction to DAZN, you know, a new platform. It was kind of a political fight, you know. It was essentially an easy way to become a free-weight world champion. But regardless, Alvarez looked quite good. As for Canelo's future, where does he go from here? Will he stay at super middleweight or will he go back down to middleweight? I have an assumption that he will go back down in weight. And in an ideal world, what I would like to see is Canelo unifying with Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs has the IBF title, whereas Canelo holds the WBA and WBC. So those two could unify next year, Cinco de Mayo. That would be a really good fight. And in tandem with that, as DAZN already have another middleweight champion in Demetrius Andrade, I would like to see Andrade fight Golovkin. You know, maybe DAZN could get Golovkin. Andrade versus Golovkin, Canelo versus Danny Jacobs, and then the winners fight each other like a little tournament. I think that would be a really good idea, and it is possible because Golovkin is a free agent and the other guys are already on DAZN. It really makes sense for Golovkin to go to DAZN, in my opinion. So in an ideal world, I would like to see Canelo fight Danny Jacobs next. I think that is something fresh. I think it's a good fight. And yeah, that's what I would like to see personally. I know there is a lot of talk about a third Golovkin fight. If that happened next, I would not have any issue with it. I thoroughly enjoyed the first 2 fights. And, you know, Golovkin for me is still the 2nd best middleweight in the world. I actually felt he beat Canelo both times. But officially, he probably is number 2. So if that fight was to happen next, a third Golovkin fight, I wouldn't have any issue with it. Another fight that would be good would be a fight with Jermall Charlo. I believe Charlo is still the WBC mandatory. That would be a really good fight. Jermall Charlo, long, tall, boxer puncher. You know, that would be a really interesting fight. But Jermall Charlo is with Al Haymon and he is on the PBC. So he's on the outside looking in right now. All the belts are pretty much on the zone. Technically Danny Jacobs isn't. I know he is a free agent right now. But there is a high possibility that he will re-sign with Eddie Hearn. And obviously that would mean he would be on the zone. That makes sense anyway because like I said, the other guys are on the zone apart from Jermall Charlo. So yeah. In short, Canelo has a lot of options at 160. Who knows, he may even fight at 168 again. Canelo has options. And lastly, I wanted to make this point in this video. My thoughts on Canelo Alvarez. I truly believe this guy is an exceptional fighter. I love watching him fight, you know. His style is, to me, one of the most appealing in the sport right now. I love watching him fight, but as a lover of boxing, I kind of find it hard to get behind him just because of all the other things that come along with him. So for example, terrible scoring in multiple fights, the drug testing debacle, the issues with hand wraps, you know, that happened again last night. Rocky Fielding's team accused Alvarez of stacking his hand wraps, and I believe Alvarez had to rewrap his hands. So there's just so much extracurricular stuff going on with Alvarez, and it makes it hard for me to really enjoy him. Because like I said, I actually like the way he fights. I like his offensive creativity, his counter-punching, his power, his defensive prowess. You know, I really want to get behind Alvarez, but I just can't. I just can't. That's how I feel. But I still want to see the guy fight. But to me, something's always a bit off when you watch Canelo fight. But yeah, share your thoughts below. Peace.